Mode. Okay. Oh, I can mute people myself. I've just seen that. Okay. Hello. Oh, we're recording. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this Project Me workshop. A warm welcome to everybody who's watching live. I'm assuming a lot of people watching live are in the UK because when I sent out the email, I accidentally calculated the wrong time for the different time zones, and I said that it was an hour later than it was for Los Angeles and New York and for Australia. So I am super sorry about that if you are watching the replay because you tuned in an hour late. We're going to see how it happens at the end and see whether I hang on and keep going for a little bit longer after an hour. But if for those of you who are watching it right now from the beginning, I'll make a definite ending point, so you guys can leave and not have to watch it for a second round if I decide I've even got the energy to do that. So thanks everyone for joining in. I'm super excited to run this workshop for you guys today. If anybody doesn't know who I am, I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Kelly Pietrangeli. I'm the creator of myprojectme.com and the author of the book, Project Me for Busy Mothers, a practical guide to finding a happier balance. If you are watching this and you don't have kids, don't click away because really Project Me is for everyone. And a lot of women have actually said to me, I feel like a bit of a fraud. Like I don't have kids, but I really love Project Me and I love the framework. I love the action sheets. And I'm like, that's okay. Like, you know, it was just the book said for busy mothers, but that it doesn't mean anything. So this is for everybody, kids or no kids. Um, you know, I still laugh when I think about the fact that I have actually written a book called A Practical Guide to Finding a Happier Balance, because if you had told me, I don't even know, 11 plus years ago, that I would be helping other busy women get a handle on their lives and find a happier balance and all of that, I think I would have laughed in your face because my life was anything but balanced back then. I just always felt like I was chasing my tail. I never felt that there were enough hours in the day to get everything done. And yeah, I took my frustrations out on my family. I mean, I'm really not proud of the old me. But the good news is that, you know, once I decided to start treating my life like an exciting, important project, and that's what we're going to go into today. I'm going to teach you what I started doing that turned my life around. Um, Everything really, really changed for me. And, you know, my kids are taller than me teenagers now, and one's at university. The next one's going to be going off to university in a year. And I feel so excited about this next chapter of my life that is about to open up. I know a lot of people who are at my stage are feeling that kind of like empty nest syndrome, or they feel it coming, or like, oh, don't talk about my kids leaving and that kind of thing. And I actually feel so excited for my kids to be starting their new adventures in this, you know, new chapter of their life and going off into the world and doing all the amazing things I know they're going to do. And I feel super, super equally excited for me and everything that I've still got coming ahead of me in my life. And I know for a fact that if I hadn't started treating my life like a project and just keeping myself so happy in all these areas of my life and having goals and lots to look forward to, that I would be like so many of the other mothers at my kids' school who are right now with their youngest, like last year's school, going, oh my gosh, and everything. And it sounds bad, like I'm it's not that I'm sad, not that I'm not sad that they're leaving, you know, but I just feel really, really genuinely excited about my life and what's next for me. And so that's what I'm hoping I can instill you guys with tonight. Tonight depends on where you're watching. Is to start getting behind this framework of creating your Project Me and getting yourself into a position where, I don't know if you've got kids, if you do, that you are going to be super excited for when that day comes when they're going off and you're starting your next chapter of your life too. I would love to hear in the comments where you're tuning in from. So open up the chat box. It's at the bottom of the screen. Depends on if you're on a phone or the computer, but click the chat box at the bottom and just say hi from wherever you're from. It'd just be fun to see where everybody's at. If you haven't got the life wheel that I emailed to you, that is fine. You can just grab the nearest piece of paper and a pen. You are going to want that at least, because we're going to be working through an exercise, and it's going to be really great for you to have that handy, and to be able to write down your scores. And then if you haven't got the ideas into action sheet printed out already, then you can do that on a piece of paper too. These are just like fun and make it visual and really great for you, but you can use the nearest piece of paper, notebook, whatever you've got, okay? So I'm going to see where people are here from. So we got Lancaster in the UK, South London, London. Oh, CA, Kelly, California. Oh my gosh, did somebody in California actually tune in at the right time despite my Los Angeles? I hope that that means California. I used to live in California. I'd love to know where, Kelly from California, where you're from in California. Paris. Swansea, yeah, Rachel. West London. Hey, I'm in West London too. I'm in Hammersmith, Shepherd's Bush area. Okay. Emily Hart says, can you see me? Nope, can't see you, Emily. So I don't know whether you've got your camera not switched on. If you go to the lower left-hand corner, it says stop video and start video. So maybe you just need to find that. Hey, Christina is here from Ibiza. Fabulous. Ibiza is my spiritual home. Okay, so I am going to now go out of this full screen, and I'm going to share. I'll have Rachel keep an eye on the, raise your hand, Rachel. That's Rachel, my assistant. Rachel's going to keep an eye on the chat box and make sure that, oh yeah, she's going to make sure that if anyone's got any, oh, don't send me private messages now. Like put them into the full thing. Some people are sending me private messages because I won't be able to see them in a second, because I'm going to go to my slide deck, and that means that I'm not going to be able to see anything. Long Beach, California, Kelly's from. So go ahead and just put it in the general chat box, as opposed to, I don't know, somehow it's saying it's a private message. Okay, let me see if there's anything else I need to look at before I go out of this screen. Okay. Mute all. Current and new participants will be muted. I never saw that before. Okay, I've got it all arranged now. So I think that even when new people join, it's going to be muted. I didn't know about that feature. Okay, so now I need to share my screen. Share. And I'm going to share my desktop. I'm going to share the desktop. Okay, here's my desktop, and I'm going to go zoom in, full screen on that. Okay, hope you guys can all see that. Rachel, I can see you. Raise your hand if you can see my slide deck. All right, cool. So we're good to go. All right, so let me go to that. All right, so this is the Project Me Life Wheel. And if you are not familiar with this yet, this really is the bare bones framework for Project Me. There's lots we delve into like on different levels, but the bare basics is doing a Project Me Life Wheel check-in once a month. And the reason behind doing it once a month is because it gets you to stop looking like getting really overwhelmed and like trying to look at your entire, each of these areas of your life, like what it means over, you know, your entire life. You're just looking at the last month. You're just reflecting over the month of September in this instance and seeing how each of those areas has gone only in the past month. So let's just say productivity has been really low in September because you've got kids going back to school, you've had the summer break, you are just feeling all over the place. That's totally understandable. But what happens is you take some small steps. We're going to talk about that when we move into the ideas into action. You take some small steps to improve things, then you do your check-in again a month later, and you see whether you have improved things or not. And it's the same with all areas. There's going to be a reason some months why some areas are scoring really low, and it might not have anything to do with you. It could be circumstantial. So none of this is kind of a reflection on you. It's a chance for you to just get to see what's working, what's not, what needs some focus in the month ahead. So the very first thing is that you want to have a monthly Project Me date with yourself. This is where you set aside just a little bit of time. Now, it's going to depend on you. There's no right or wrong to this. Some people like to actually book it into their calendar, go off to a cafe, go somewhere out of the house with their Project Me folder, their notebooks, their printed out action sheets, and actually have kind of just this time to themselves. Other people are like, oh my God, there's no way I would have time to do that. So in that instance, I say just get out your life wheel and do a really quick assessment, and use the ideas in the action sheet that we're going to be going through, and just do it that way. So you can really take as long or as little as you want to with this. Obviously, if you've got more time, you can just delve into things a bit deeper and come up with some deeper strategies. But that's what I mean by the Project Me date with yourself. You're going to be checking in with your life once a month, every month. Let me move this out of the way so you can see that. And this helps you to keep out of autopilot. Too many of us are just getting out of bed every day and going straight for it, right? Just getting everything done we need to get done, driving around, doing everything we need to do, and then falling into bed at the end of the day and feeling like exhausted, and then waking up the next day and doing it all over again. And doing the Project Me Life Wheel check-in once a month helps to keep you out of autopilot. It really gets you to be more intentional about your life. And it's something so simple as just doing a check-in with each area of your life, and making these small little steps, improvements, really keeps you out of autopilot and keeps you more interested in each area of your life. It helps you to reflect on what's working. That's another great thing about doing the life wheel check-in, because you actually can look, hey, that's going really well. And you can actually give yourself a pat on the back and celebrate that. We don't do that often enough. We beat ourselves up way too much for what's not working. And we don't even pause to reflect sometimes on what's actually going really well. So the life wheel check-in is very much also about seeing what is working and celebrating that. It's an opportunity to see what's not working so well. And that doesn't mean beating yourself up. Like I said, we're too quick to do that sometimes. The Project Me Life Wheel gives you a chance to say, I'm giving myself a really low score in this area. Why is that? And reflecting a bit and figuring out, okay, I'm not going to be able to change this overnight, but I can do some small things. It empowers you to see that you can make some small changes that will cumulatively lead to really good results. And it gives you an opportunity to see what could use some extra focus in the month ahead. So that's all you're doing. You're reflecting over the previous month. And then for this instance, you're going to look at October, and you're going to see what could use some extra attention in the month ahead. It's that simple. I think a lot of people, they download the life wheel, they start reading through the life area prompts, and they kind of go, oh my gosh. And they think they're going to have to go down some dark alleys, and they're going to have to like face their demons and everything. And it's not actually like that. I've deliberately designed Project Me to be a bit different than other life coaches. A lot of life coaches want you to go in deep right from the beginning, right? They want you to like, what are your self-limiting beliefs? And let's dig into that and that. I actually think that once you get your life into a better position by just looking at the little things you can be doing to improve, that's when you have the mental bandwidth and the personal growth to be able to start looking at that other stuff. So right now, it's just about getting things into a better position so that in the beginning, you're not feeling like you're chasing your tail or never enough hours in the day or not enough time for you. It really helps with all that. It is actually much simpler than you think. So don't be afraid of the life wheel check-in. Okay, we're actually going to do the life wheel check-in right now, and this is exciting. I deliberately set this up to be on the last day of September because I want you to be able to reflect back on September and then look ahead to October. So we're only looking at September and thinking about what you might want to focus on for October. So I'm going to go ahead and read the prompts. I'm not going to read every single one of them in every life area, but I'm just going to kind of read some of them to you, just get you thinking. So get your kind of pen out. Take a couple of deep breaths and just think about your life over the past month and think about your month ahead and whether this is anything that you want to give focus to. And what you're going to be doing is marking yourself a higher score, so 8, 9, 10, if it's an area that's either going really well right now, like, yeah, it's really, really going well, or you can even mark yourself high if it's an area that you just really don't feel like it needs your attention right now. It isn't like it's like absolutely fabulous, but it's just one of those things where there's other areas of your life in October that need more of your focus. So you can give yourself a higher score there just to remind yourself that that's not something you're going to look at this month, and that's perfectly okay. A 1, guys, is reserved for like a chronic problem, you know, a chronic, if it's health, it's got to be like a chronic health condition. If it's something, you know, it's reserved for like crisis. All right. So if you're kind of feeling a bit lousy right now, you're tired or whatever, you know, give yourself a little bit more than a 1, unless it really, really is that bad. And you know, you're just going to want to be looking at, you know, 1 through 10, and a 10 is never perfect. I really, really want to drive that home to you, that we're never striving for perfection here. This is not about, I'm trying to create a perfect life, or I'm trying to ultimately get 10s in every area of my life every month, because life just isn't like that. There's going to be things that come up that are completely out of your control. But one way that you'll be able to mark yourself higher is by saying, you know what? This was a really, really crappy month when it came to whatever it is. But the way I handled it was so well. I could have fallen apart. I could have done this. I could have done that. But I really handled it as best as I could. And that is a really good reason for giving yourself a higher score, even if circumstantially things were really, really not great. So this is a really subjective thing, and there's no right or wrong. It's how you feel about how you're going to score each area of your life. Okay, personal growth is where we're going to start. So personal growth is about getting to know and understand yourself better and to become the best version of yourself. Life is easier to navigate when you are in touch with your emotions and you learn and grow from reflecting on what's working and what's not. So Project Me and even doing this Life Wheel check-in is a big part of your personal growth journey. So here's a few prompts to think about. Do you check in with yourself and pay attention to what your emotions are telling you? Does your inner voice speak nicely to you? Are you forgiving of your mistakes and those of others? Do you have a regular gratitude practice that keeps you in the habit of noticing and appreciating all that is good? Are you mindful and living in the present moment? Do you have a meditation practice to quiet your mind and tune inwards? Are you feeding yourself with positive inspiration? It can be books, blogs, videos, podcasts, guided meditations, courses, or workshops. You know, are you feeding yourself with enough positivity? Do you have clear goals and action plans? I'm looking to see, I'm going to mute someone there. There we go. Do you make decisions from your heart? Are you in touch with your intuition? So mark yourself on the wheel under personal growth, how you're feeling about that in your life right now, just over the past month or so, whether that's something that you would like to give more attention in the month of October, then you can give it a lower score just to kind of flag it up for yourself. Higher score stuff towards the end is going to be the things that you don't necessarily have to take any actions on, and the lower score stuff is where you might want to give some more attention. Okay, now, oops, there we go. Okay. Now I'm going to move on to productivity. Productivity, so developing good productivity and time management skills. You know, I didn't used to, when I first started doing this kind of check-in, I didn't have productivity on my life wheel. And everything was going like quite good in my life, you know, really, but then it wasn't. Like things would fall through the cracks and I'd forget about things and all of that. And it wasn't until I added productivity to the life wheel, eureka! Suddenly I was like, oh my gosh, when I started giving this area of my life some proper attention, things really began to improve for me. So do you know what your priorities are each day? Do you keep a master to-do list so you're not holding things in your head? Do you have a system in place for things like meal planning, food shopping, cooking, laundry, and cleaning? You don't have to, but for a lot of people that really helps if that feels like something that you want to do. Is your environment, home, car, office, clear and decluttered? Do you recognize the signs of overwhelm before it takes over? Are you able to say no to things that are not in alignment with your own goals and objectives? A lot of us are real yes people. I used to be a yes person. I said yes to everything anybody wanted me to do. And then I learned to be a yes to me and no to the things that are not in my priority this next month. That doesn't mean that you have to be a no person the whole year. But if you're month ahead, you really want to get your act together, then you're going to have to say no to some people or things that you would maybe otherwise say yes to. Do you appreciate that done is better than perfect? That was a nice way of me saying, are you a perfectionist? I wanted to kind of put that in a positive way. Are you living by your values and spending time on the things that really matter to you? Do you create space in your schedule for checking in with yourself, challenge solving, goal setting, and planning, even things like doing this life wheel check-in? So if this is a low scoring area for you, I just want you to know that most of the women that I work with, this is a low scoring area for them until until they start working with me. Productivity is something that I have now really put my heart and soul into creating a lot of great resources and tools to help with this, the things that helped me. So give yourself a score on productivity. And then we're going to move on to family. So our families are where we experience often our biggest triumphs and our deepest vulnerabilities. And they are where we have the greatest potential to do good. Think of any children, brothers or sisters, parents or in-laws or step-parents, other extended family. This is where you don't include a partner here. So if you've got a partner in your life, there's a separate section for that later. So it's just kind of, you know, all those other kind of family members. Are you feeling connected to your family members? Is communication strong? Would you like to cultivate more patience or better listening? Do you actively look for and acknowledge the good in your loved ones? Do you have a child or other family member that could use some particular support right now? Are there good routines in place? Would you like to create and implement some systems that would make home life flow more easily? Is everyone getting the individual attention they need to feel loved and supported? So give yourself a score right now. And if it's a lower score, that will inspire you to make a small steps action plan for that. And if everything's going quite good right now, then give yourself a higher score. Okay, health and well-being. Your health is arguably the most important pedal on your life wheel. I did Project Me Live, it's coming up to 1 year ago, and we did the entire thing on health and well-being because it is just such a broad subject. So, you know, self-care is an act of generosity to yourself and the people that you interact with every day. It is not selfish to make sure that you look after yourself. So here are some prompts for you. The first one I'm going to say is super important. Are you up to date on your screenings and tests? Things like your smear test, mammogram, mole checks. Those of you who are following Project Me a year ago might remember that I had a mole checked out right here on my cheek that turned out to be cancerous, and it got cut out, and I can hardly even see the scar now. And you know, those are the kind of things you just really need to be on top of that. So I urge anybody to give yourself a lower score on that automatically if you're not up to date with your screenings, just to prompt you to make those appointments. How are your physical energy levels? Is your immune system strong? Are you getting good quality sleep? Coming up in Project We membership, I know some of you are Project We members. I'll be talking about Project We a little bit more later, but we're going to be doing a get to bed early challenge when the clocks go back and we still are staying up too late. Do you drink plenty of water each day? This is prompting me to have some water right now. Have a sip of water. Are you breathing deeply? This is your prompt to breathe. You got to give your body that vital life force. And oftentimes we're just breathing from the chest up and we're really not fully breathing. And that, oh my gosh, I write so much about that, about the importance of breathing and what that does for us. Are you eating nutritious, well-balanced meals? Are you mindful of portions and snacks? Are you moving your body and making time for physical fitness? How's your mental fitness? Would you like to create a meditation, mindfulness, or yoga practice for your mental well-being? Are you practicing self-care and nurturing yourself enough? Do you make time to rest, relax, and do things just for you? Okay, so give yourself a score based on how high of a priority anything to do with your health and well-being is right now. Even if things are going great, ask yourself if there's anything you can do to love and nourish your beautiful mind and body just that little bit more. And now we're going to move on to love. Okay, so if you're in a relationship or flying solo, this is the opportunity to take a closer look at your love life. Your relationships are a mirror of the relationship that you have with yourself. So self-love is an important foundation for a healthy marriage or partnership. And if you're not in a relationship right now, and you're not even looking for a relationship right now, then what I always say is, when you get to the love area of your check-in, think about self-love. Are you loving yourself enough? So I'm going to read through the prompts. If you're in a relationship, do you get essential we time? Are you feeling emotionally connected? Are you finding ways to keep things fresh, interesting, and exciting? Are you connected through intimate touch, kissing, lovemaking? Do you set healthy boundaries in your relationship? Are you pondering separation or going through a divorce? Are you able to make clean thinking decisions around that? If you're single, are you appreciating this time for yourself? Are you open and giving to receiving love again? Are you practicing plenty of self-love? And do you take full responsibility for your life and happiness regardless of your relationship status? So all challenges in the love area of your heart can be solved with an open heart. So listen to what your heart is telling you right now and give your love life a score based on the past month. Okay, work. By the way, you can be, I should have said this at the beginning, maybe you're doing it already, but you can be making little notes next to, some people like to make little notes next to each area of little ideas that come up, or you can use the backside or use another piece of paper. We're going to be then using the ideas into action to take any little thought bubbles that are coming up to you. Maybe nothing's coming right now, but if something's coming to you now, make a little note of it, and then that'll make it easier when you get to the ideas in the action sheet after this. Okay, work. So this section is designed to help you think objectively about anything to do with work. If you volunteer, you're on a committee, you're doing a course of study or further education, you can use this section to evaluate how that's going for you or whether you want to consider any of these things. If you're not working and work is just something that is not, we all know if you've got young kids at home, we know that's work. But for now, we're going to just keep the kids in family section. So if work is just something that I'm not thinking about it right now, everything's good, not anything at all that's on my mind for the month of October, then you can just mark yourself a 10, which just means not that, oh, I'm super, super happy with this. It might be something that you want to think about in the future. But if October is not the month that you're going to be thinking about this, then you can really mark it a 10. So here's the prompts. If you're working, are you doing work that feels right for you at this point in your life? Do you have clear goals and objectives around your work? Do you feel like you're putting your best self forward through your work? Do you feel financially rewarded and fulfilled in relation to the energy and hours you're putting in? Do you know and understand your personality, strengths, passions, and the work best suited for you? Would you like to find work that fits in well around your family and lifestyle? Are you running or thinking about starting your own business? Would you like to explore volunteer opportunities? Could you be a good mentor? Are you studying or considering doing a course or pursuing further education? Are there any positive changes you'd like to make in the work area of your life? So if work isn't a focus for you right now, mark it as a 10 and move on. And I also want to just say that even if these prompts are getting you to think, gosh, yeah, I really am wanting to start a course or something, think about October. Is October going to be a really good month for you to start investigating courses? Maybe it's a good time for you to start looking, or same with, finding a new job or starting a business. Really think objectively about whether October, we're only doing this 1 month at a time, and you're going to be doing this every single month, I hope. So it doesn't mean that if you don't think about it in October that you're never going to think about it. That's the great thing, is that you're finding out what your focus is going to be for the month ahead, and it might not be work this month. But what I'm going to teach you is that when you're consistently ignoring the things that are weighing on you, that's when you need to start to give it some attention. So that's why doing it once a month really helps, because you begin to see when you're kind of ignoring the same things over and over again every month. And 1 month you'll be like, this is the month I'm going to give this some attention. Okay, fun. This area is about fun, friendships, social life, cultural hobbies, cultural fixes, hobbies, and interest. It often gets overlooked at the expense of everything else that needs to be fitted in. And without fun, life's got no juice. So, do you engage in positive activities or social interactions that inspire you and make you smile and laugh? Do you spend time with those who lift you higher? Do you need to reach out and initiate plans with friends? Are you open to making new friends? Are you giving off a positive vibe to attract your tribe? Would it feel good to learn something new and get your cogs turning and feel freshly inspired? Are there any concerts, plays, or exhibitions you'd like to see? Could you use a journal to create a vision board to brainstorm ideas for injecting some more fun into your life? So have a think about how your funometer has been looking in September and whether you want to step up the fun quota or give some friendships some more focus in the month of October. And if you do, then you can mark yourself a lower score just to flag that up for yourself when you're doing your ideas in the action sheet. All right, next up we have money. That's last but not least money. So all things financial are included in this area, including wills and important documents. It's also an opportunity to dive into your money mindset and identify any blocks to the flow of abundance in your life. So do you have a positive money mindset? Does financial abundance flow freely? Could you use help with unblocking or releasing any negative patterns around money? Do you spend money mindfully and avoid consumerism or comparison traps? Do you want to create a strategy for saving, budgeting, or tracking your expenditures? Do you feel deep gratitude for everything you already have? So important. Do you give freely? Do you support initiatives or charities that are dear to your heart? All of this is kind of around that flow of money. When we're in that kind of scarcity mindset around money, like we're really worrying about it or just feeling anxious about it, we end up kind of closing up altogether. And we need to just be super, super aware of the abundance and the things that we do have in our life and really notice them and appreciate it. And that opens up the flow of abundance so much more. And then I added some things on here. Do you need to make or update your will? Do you know where to find key financial documents, insurance policies, tax returns, household bills, wills, that kind of thing? This has come up over in our Project We membership club, and we are bringing in somebody who's an expert in this area, and she's going to run a challenge for us, which is going to be a challenge to, and she tells you how to do it. Like if you're feeling like, oh, the will stuff, or the I wouldn't know how to get into my partner's bank accounts if something happened to him, or anything like that, she's going to be helping with all that stuff. Which I'm really looking forward to as well. Okay, so that if you have no real concerns around any of this right now, you can give yourself a super high score. Otherwise, circle the number that feels right. So now it's time to connect the dots. So if you've never done this before, I'm going to show you what I mean. Let me go here. So this is just a hypothetical. This isn't my life wheel this month. This is just a hypothetical life wheel where somebody has marked themselves high in some areas and kind of so-so in others and quite low in others. And your wheel might look really small. It might be that some people just have everything, it's all in a circle, but it's really small. And other people's it's quite zigzaggy. And what I want to say is that this is just a way of seeing where your life might be a little bit out of balance. It's also a way of seeing what needs your focus in the month ahead. And it really is just that. It's not a chance to beat yourself up for anything. This is about becoming proactive and taking small steps to improve things. So you might be thinking, what do I do about these scores now? Because it's kind of tempting sometimes to dive in and want to do everything, especially if you're brand new to this. If you're like, whoa, this is the first time I've ever done this, and I can see now what I need to do. You've given me lots of inspiration. It can be really overwhelming if you try to take on too many life areas all in October. And you can end up like going in with great gusto and then kind of not really doing much of anything that makes much of a difference. You do your life wheel check in the next month and think, no, I didn't really do anything. So I oftentimes advise people to just pick an area that they really want to focus on for the month ahead. It doesn't mean you can't do some small other things, but like if you choose an area that you really, really want to focus on, you can really take some actions that are going to make a big result for your next life wheel check-in. So here's some ideas. Which one life area might be having a negative knock-on effect on the other areas too? So like I always say, productivity. If you are, if you spend a little bit more time getting your systems in place and your productivity into a better position, or clearing clutter, or whatever it may be for you, it can be that alone, by focusing on that, ends up having this really positive knock-on effect on other life areas too. For example, if you feel like you're like always shouting at your kids, like, get ready, get ready. If you just focused on in the family life area, making some chores charts for the kids so that they know where they need to, what they need to do. Or you create some systems that in the morning you've got book bags parked by the front door and you've got everything. You're just more organized, let's just put it that way. You'll see that it can end up having like this positive knock-on effect on the whole rest of your life, which is really cool. You can also ask yourself, what feels too hard and overwhelming to start with right now? You might have marked yourself really low in the love area, but you're thinking, God, in October, do I really, really want to start thinking about this right now? Maybe you don't. And so I just want to say that, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that the area you've marked the lowest has to be an area that you give your total focus to. But when you start doing the life wheel check-in every month and you see that you're habitually marking the same area low, that's your signpost for now. I'm really going to start to take some small steps to improve things. And really, sometimes it can feel insurmountable. You know, how am I ever going to get my score upped? And you find that when you just start taking some really small steps, things improve faster than you could have ever imagined. You can also go, what can I begin with that feels doable so I feel a sense of achievement before I tackle something bigger? That's okay too. So there's no right or wrong place to start. Some life areas are admittedly easier to get going on than others. So there's no wrong or right to this. This is all about you becoming the expert of you. I'm not the guru here. Like, I'm not the one that is going to tell you what you need to do. All I do is offer tools and inspiration to help you to become the expert of yourself. Okay, that's what this is all about. All right, so let's see. Let me go to my next slide. Okay, so this is where we move into ideas into inspired action. It's not just action, it's inspired action. This helps you to take any ideas that have come up as you did your life wheel check-in and break them down into small actionable steps. Trying to do too much all at once can lead to overwhelm, frustration, and disappointment. So be mindful of how much you can action in a month. Keep your vibes positive and enthusiastic, and this energy is going to carry you along effortlessly. So here are some examples of how you can break ideas down into small step actions. And we are going to have, I didn't even check in to make sure that Emily's here. Is Emily here? Raise your hand. There's Emily. Hey, Emily. Emily is our brave volunteer. Thank you so much. We haven't met yet. And she is going to be in the star seat, not just yet, because I'm going to go through some examples first. And then Emily has really kindly put her hand up to be in the star seat, which means that I'm going to get to like talk her through how to break things down into small step actions for her, which I'm really excited about. All right, so here's the ideas in the action sheet. You see these little thought bubbles. It's like, I've got this idea in this life area. So here we go. Let's just take a hypothetical one here. Let's say that this hypothetical woman, she wants to work on the family area of her life. And one idea she has is she's going to take some parenting skills classes. She's heard about some, and she just really feels that if she learns some skills, she would be able to have a lot more tranquility and order in her home. So her idea is to take parenting skills classes, and she's like, okay, well, that's the idea. And then she needs to research them. I mean, she just needs to find out where they are. I mean, I did mine with the Parent Practice. I absolutely loved it. They have an online course now. I've written all about that on the Project Me blog. So, and then the good thing to do too is to actually, sometimes you want to write down how long you think that'll take you or allocate a time. So in this case, 15 minutes, she's going to look up the Parent Practice and look at their online course, or if she's in London, she can go to the course. That's 15 minutes. Then life area again, another idea she has is she's going to create a chores chart. She knows that if the kids just kind of knew what they're meant to be doing, that she wouldn't have to nag and cajole and just go crazy all the time, repeating herself all the time. And she wouldn't feel like a slave doing it all herself. So that's her idea. She says, okay, I could download and print from myprojectme.com in the family section. See, I know that's there. I have a chores chart there. So she says, well, that will only take me 5 minutes. I'm going to call a family meeting to discuss the chores and get input. That'll be about 20 minutes. It's probably as long as the kids are going to want to sit down and have this meeting about chores. But I've written about this before too. It's in the same blog post about how to get your kids to help you more. And it's about how to set up a family meeting so it doesn't feel like, all right, everybody, come on, we're going to talk about the work you're going to be doing. It's not like that. You're getting them to come have a meeting with you to discuss what input they have about things that they could be doing. You'd be surprised sometimes at what kids come up with for the chores that they're willing to do. And then you're going to fill in the chores charts. You see that this created chores chart ideas, which this woman's had in her mind for the last 6 months. She's been thinking, I got to create a chores chart. If she spends 30 minutes doing these 3 actions, all that is going to take 30 minutes, and she's suddenly going to have something up and running. And it can take some tweaking and some adapting, but she'll have something going. So that's my kind of examples in the family life section. Then we got health. Okay, so this other woman, she's written down health, and she's got some ideas. She wants to cook and eat healthier when she's at home. And one of her ideas is to clear out the cupboard and get rid of junk. She figures that'll take her about 10 minutes. She wants to create a healthy recipes file. She wants to sit down and do that. That probably might take her an hour. And here's someone else with personal growth. She wants to create some go-to me time rituals. She doesn't feel like she's got enough of this kind of me time that I spoke about, where she's reflecting on her life and doing positive things for herself. So her ideas are she's going to download the Insight Timer meditation app. That's my favorite meditation app, so I had to give that a little plug. It's a free meditation app that I'm totally addicted to. She's going to buy a new journal. She thinks it'd be a really nice idea if she spent some time journaling and getting to know herself better that way. And she's going to place some inspirational books on her bedside table so that before she goes to bed every night, instead of hanging around on Instagram until her eyes won't stay open anymore, she's going to turn over a new leaf and just going to read some inspirational books and have those on her bedside table. So this is just some ideas. I just think sometimes it's good to see examples of ideas and how you take an idea and you break it down into just little simple things that you can be doing. All right. So this is what I've just shown you just now, really is the simple bare bones of the Project Me framework. And doing this once a month consistently will improve your life. It will. I hear from so many people who say, my God, I never thought that something so simple as just checking in with my life once a month could make such a difference. You're going to become much more aware of the knock-on effect that each individual area of your life has on the others. And you'll become proactive. You'll see that life is not happening to you, it's happening by you. And then what I'm moving into more now is that if you stick with me, you're going to learn that it's also happening for you and in you. Because for ages, I turned into a doer. Like, I was no longer a victim. Life wasn't happening to me. Life was happening by me. But I was exhausted, like really exhausted, because I was just doing all the time. And now I'm realizing that there is great power in tapping into vibrational energy and flow, and understanding that that can help you along. You have to do less action when you learn that life is happening for you and in you. That's a whole nother workshop, guys, and one that I run with my Project Me members. I'll be telling you about that later. Okay, sometimes my little forward button works and sometimes it doesn't. Let me try this next one. Okay, but, and here's the big but. I know how hard it is to stay consistent and keep the momentum going on your Project Me when you're doing it alone. When you want to do that life wheel check-in, you're gung-ho, you finish this workshop, you're like, I'm going to do this every month for sure. First week of every month, I'm doing this. And maybe you'll do it the first week of November. And then maybe you won't the first week of December. And then maybe January you will, because it's January and we all kind of get into that mode in January. And then in February, oops, you forgot. This is what happens to so many people, because it can be hard to work on your Project Me all by yourself. You're kind of in a little bit of a vacuum. It's not even just the forgetting to do a life wheel check-in. It's just that you're working on your life completely by yourself and you're trying to figure everything out on your own. And sometimes you haven't got like anyone else to bounce things off of, or you can feel really stuck in a certain life area and you really don't know what to do. And that is where it is just so great to be able to team up with some others to work on your Project Me together. Now, I created the Project Me Power Pal pack several years ago, I think 5 years ago. And it was a way of you getting together with friends to be able to create either a Power Pal, get together with a Power Pal 2 people or 3 people for a Power Posse, because this is what I have and it is just absolutely amazing. This is my power posse. That's me in the middle. That's Susie on the left and Anna on the right. And that little plaque is a gift I gave them. ASK stands for Anna, Susie, and Kelly. And since 2008, we have been meeting up once a month without fail to work on our Project Me's together. And for a while, I was living in Madrid and Anna was living in Singapore, and we just kept going with, even with our crazy time zone differences, we used Google Hangouts or Skype, whatever we could. And it's just a chance for us to get together once a month. We don't even really get together and talk about other stuff. We just go, okay, who's going first? And we go through our life wheel and we say what's challenging us, and we hold each other accountable. Did you do that last month? And all of that. And so that's been 11 years now, and it's completely changed my life. And Susie and Anna were the ones that, you know, we came up with the whole concept of Project Me together. So you have them to thank for all of this as well. So I wanted to give them an honorable mention here. And the great thing about doing this with Susie and Anna is that we all have different approaches, and it's really interesting to see how we're all really different. Anna, who you can see there in the lower left, she's super visual. When she does her life wheel check-ins and things like that, she's into bullet journaling and drawing, and she just is super visual, and she just comes up with these presentations sometimes for us. We're like, wow, the things she's going to work on that month, and she's just a very visual person. Susie in the right-hand corner there with her journal, that is me. I write everything out, and I use the action sheets and everything. So we're all different in how we approach our Project Me, and that's what I love, is although there's this framework of, you know, the life wheel check-in, and there's a lot of other tools and things that go with the kind of bare bones framework, how you go about it, it becomes your own. You know, it's good to have like a starting point, and then you begin to start to work on things in your own style and in your own way. And that's what's so beautiful. It's not like following the cult of Kelly. You know, you're not like doing everything like I do it. You're just having this framework for how to get started on your Project Me. And that's what I love about running this workshop for you tonight. I'm going to have a quick look at time. Yikes. Okay. So a lot of people told me when I came up with the Power Pal pack that they didn't have a like-minded friend to work on their Project Me's together. And that made me so sad. Like, the people who were getting together with others were really making big leaps and bounds, and the other ones were going, I just don't have friends that I could do this with. They just wouldn't be interested, or live too far away, or this kind of thing. And that is why finally in January I launched Project We. So Project Me turned into Project We, and that is the private membership club. And this is for women who are ready to step out of autopilot and live with intention. We create positive habits. I kick you up the backside to do your life wheel check-in every month, as in, like, I'm there sending you an email on the first of the month, and we have a private members community where I post it in there and I say, when are you doing your date with you? And everyone has to write down when they're doing their date with themselves, and we circle back and we say, how did it go? And it really helps you to make yourself a priority even amongst the busyness, because we can have the best of intentions, like I said, and then life gets busy and this all kind of falls to the wayside. And the thing about Project We is that it keeps your Project Me like front and center in your mind. It's a super supportive community of like-minded women from all over the world, all really different, but like-minded in the sense of wanting to be their best versions of themselves. I do a live Zoom workshop like this one that you're attending right now on a fresh topic every month. So we've done productivity and time management. In July, we did Joy July, and I created a whole workbook. It was a PDF workbook where we explored, you know, how to bring more joy into our lives. We did vision boarding workshops, part 1 and part 2, where we held up our vision boards after they were made. This October, the October workshop is going to be EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique tapping. So I bring in experts too. If you don't know about tapping, it is an amazing technique that you can use anywhere, anytime to get over overwhelm or anxiety or fears or anything. And Zandra Spencer is our guest, and she's going to be even teaching us about covert tapping, where you can tap under the table and no one will even know you're doing it. So super excited. And all the replays, when you join Project We, all the replays are there in the password protected website. There's a whole separate website for Project We, and all the previous recordings of the workshops are there. So it just keeps building up like this library. So even when you join later, you get to watch the productivity workshop or the joy workshop or the vision board. You get to see all that stuff. So it just keeps getting added to. There's a login members hub that's got video trainings. It's got action sheets that are only for Project We members. You get heaps of inspiration across your 8 key life areas. So if you've marked yourself low in any life area, you literally head to the color-coded box that says fun or says love, and you click on that. And inside of there, I brought in experts in different areas. And okay, I'll stop. I absolutely love it. And so do all the members. We've got about 120 or 30, 130 members, I think, now in Project We from all over the world. And it just keeps getting bigger, and it's just super exciting. So I had to give a little plug for Project We midway through. All right, so now let me breathe in. I want everybody to breathe in. You doing your best, and breathe out. You let go of the rest. Because I just want to remind you again that this is not about perfection. This is about just doing your best with what you got in the month ahead. And if you've got a crazy month ahead, then let yourself off the hook. And, you know, we just need to learn to do that more often, is just kind of let go, let go, let go. So it's finding a balance, isn't it, between the doing and the being. And that's what I really, really love to teach with Project Me now, is less of the doing and more of the being, and finding a nice balance between all. Okay, so it's 10:02. And I am going to now, I think that's the last slide. Yeah, so I'm going to leave the slideshow, come back to main screen again. Let me figure out how I do that. Stop share. Okay, now I can see everybody again. Hi everyone. Hi everyone who I didn't get to see at the beginning, who might have joined a little bit late. Wow, fabulous. Okay, so let me see if anyone's put any comments here that I need to see. Oh, thanks Rachel for sharing those blog posts. So if you haven't opened up the chat box yet, at the bottom of your screen you'll see chat. Click on that and it opens it up, and you can see that Rachel's put a couple links in there. Thank you, Rachel. Okay, so now Emily. All right, Emily, you can unmute yourself. Actually, I might have to unmute you.
There we go.
There you are. Great. Hi, Emily. Where are you at?
I'm what, physically? Where am I?
Physically, where? Yeah. Sorry, that was a bit. You're right. When we're talking about your life, it could be like, where are you at in your life right now? No, where are you at physically?
So I'm in Surrey, place called Ashtead, in the UK. Yeah.
Great. So you're on the same time zone as a lot of us here in the UK. Yeah. Great. Fabulous. Okay. Well, Emily, thanks for volunteering to be in the hot seat. Okay. I did ask you ahead of time if you were going to be in the hot seat, if you were willing to hold up your completed life wheel. Do you want to hold it up for us? Okay, let's have a look. All right, so yep, you've got some areas that are going really, really well right now or don't need your focus. And then you've got some other areas that looks like you do want to give some focus. So have you thought yet about which areas you might for the month of October want to give some focus to, or do you need help figuring that out?
Yeah, I think it's 3 areas, if I can choose 3. Is that okay?
It is, yeah, it depends. Like I say 3 areas if you're going to be kind of doing some light actions in them. What I don't like is when people pick 3 really meaty, chunky areas and then they feel defeated at the end of the month when they haven't gotten done everything they want to do.
Yeah. I guess let's go with family. And it's so hard to choose, but
the thing is, that's the great thing. You're doing it every month, and a month is only a month away. So so family is one area. So when I was reading through those life prompts, did you get anything that you thought, yeah, that's something that I could be doing something about, like an idea that you could write into that idea thought bubble?
Yeah, I think. But like this, I think one of my children probably needs quite a lot of attention at the moment and support with her well-being. And yeah, it's just trying to sort of figure out how to find strategies to work with her. So, for example, I think in the mornings, sometimes she can be, she's very, very sensitive. And I think in the morning, sometimes she can be very emotional and needy and not in the best mood in the morning. So I kind of feel that I need to really sort of dedicate mornings before the school one just for her, and to put all my chores to the side and be really focused, which is quite hard because we all have as a mum in the morning, we're kind of running around, and it's just finding strategies to just so I can just focus and not get in a whirlwind or whatever you want to call it if her behavior is difficult.
Yeah.
So it's just being there for her.
Okay, really. So your idea, one of the ideas you came up with is a different morning routine where you put aside the stuff that you normally do and focus a little bit more on, I don't know, filling her love tank or, making sure that she feels heard. And I don't know if there's any kind of logistical things, of just kind of making sure that she's kind of got what she needs for school and all of that. I will put my hand up and say that I was in your position a few years ago, and I remember how difficult it was for me too to say, okay, I'm gonna have to just change things in the morning and really focus on him and just making sure, like I called it filling his love tank, which just meant that I just made sure it was small little things. It turned out that these really small things that didn't take as much time as I thought really made a huge difference. So write that down in your thought bubble, just the general idea at the moment, which is just to more morning focus on your daughter. And then you can break that down into actions of like 3 things that you're going to try next month or this week or whatever. This is about tweaking and making mid-course adjustments as you go along.
So I think I need to get up earlier to allow more time, so it's not so time
okay pressure. So do you want to how much time earlier do you think would give you that extra? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, longer?
I think 15 minutes would be good.
15 minutes was always the golden thing for me too. And at the time it felt like 15 minutes, I'm already getting up way earlier than I want to. And something about it, 15 minutes became my new normal. It becomes your new normal. Whatever you change it to after a while, it becomes your new normal. And now I wouldn't dream of not getting up before I have to. I need that extra, 15 minutes. So one of your action number 1 will be get up 15 minutes earlier. And then is there an action number 2 that kind of follows on from that of what you would...
I think waking my daughter up earlier. So she's not time, because time pressure isn't great in the morning for us. And I think definitely she needs time. She needs to just kind of have her own agenda in the morning, not just be being told what to do. She needs chill time. So getting her up early. So getting her up 15 minutes early after my 15 minutes of time. So that's probably my...
You know what I did? Because the old me got up, in the nick of time, and while I was getting myself ready, I was shouting out, get up, time to get up, and this really bellowing voice, come on, breakfast, come on, breakfast is done here. When are you coming? And my voice was in there the whole time until I got them to school, and then I'd be like, oh my God, I was such a bitch. And then I just started this new thing where I was going to try 15 minutes earlier and going down to their rooms, sitting on their bed and kind of rubbing awake, like just actually touching them and saying, morning, hello. And then the amazing thing was when they would come down for breakfast, they were actually in food, surprise, surprise. And it just meant more cooperation. And the whole thing transformed by doing those 2 things and nothing. So I can't wait to hear how that works out for you. I don't know if you've got a third idea or whether you're just going to try those 2 things for a week and see how you get on with that.
I think just kind of just grounding myself in the morning, I think, so that I'm good for her, fill my tank up so I can fill her tank up, and get stuff done the night before that has to be done.
That's really
just planning for the morning and thinking what do I need, what really needs to be done in the morning, what can I do now that I need to do in the morning, kind of thing. So
wonderful. Great. Okay. So those are 3 actions. One of the other things is that you're going to be doing something for you in the morning before you even start waking up. For me, I mentioned it before, that Insight Timer meditation app. You can do 3-minute meditations, 4-minute, and there's some that are called starting your day, or there's some beautiful just morning ones that just infuse you before you even get out of bed. I call it meditation. I just stay in bed and pop in my earbuds and listen to a guided meditation, and it's amazing what that does. It's really incredible.
I've been trying to do meditation. I've done mindfulness courses. I've done lots of courses, but it's just doing it and putting it into practice. I've got my toolkit, but it's using it. Yeah, absolutely. Is there another life area that you want to focus on next? I'd say work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the right work on the next life area. And then any idea spring to mind about something that's kind of
tricky situation. I'm a reflexologist. I do love it, but I'm since training realized I want to get back into doing my photography, and I've been massively procrastinating about that. So it's just getting going and not just reading up and, you know, researching. It's getting out there and doing it. Just getting over the fear.
Okay, so it's the photography side that you would like to kind of get off the ground.
Yeah.
So your idea is get my photography business off the ground.
Yeah.
You can put it in your own words, but
yeah.
Like that. So what would be a small step, first step action that you could do that in the month of October?
I think start to think about taking some families out and starting to just take for free. I'd like to choose 4 families that I do some free photography for, and just get out and do it.
That's great. Okay, so do you think that you'd be would the idea be that in October you will approach 3 families and ask them if they're interested, and maybe get a date in the diary, that kind of thing? I don't know if you'll get 4 families photographed in October.
No.
Although October is such a beautiful month in the UK for taking family pictures. So maybe if you got the ball rolling on this like straight away.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a good one.
But if that feels overwhelming, if it feels like, oh my gosh, you look at your month and you think, but I have to get 4 sessions, and then just talk about just seeing who's interested. Just see who's interested.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. And it might not be that you know your next 2 steps after that, but if you do have another action that you know you'd like to take in October, you can write that down too. But I tell people, just because there's 3 lines there doesn't mean that you have to fill all 3 lines right away. It could be that the next step comes after you've taken the first one.
Yeah. And I think probably a point would be to just get my Pinterest pages together, so I kind of know, you know, poses and, you know, places to take photos, and just start getting a feel for, you know, how I'm going to go about arranging that shoot.
That's a great one. You could write that one down too. Just Pinterest is a good thing to just kind of get that started. Sure.
Yeah. So just researching. And just get organized, I think, with my my gear, and making sure that, you know, I've got backup battery, and, you know, just practically speaking, just make sure I'm set to go.
Fabulous. Good. Okay. Yeah. Does it feel like that is something that even writing that down right now, like it could give it liftoff in October?
Yeah, big time.
Great.
Yeah. Thank you.
And did you have another life area that you want to just give a little bit of action steps to?
Probably health. Yeah,
okay.
I kind of know which areas. So yeah, just establishing a meditation practice.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so put your idea down. This is what I really want to show everybody. Like, I'm so happy that you're demonstrating this. So put the idea down as start a meditation practice, because that's the idea right now. Yeah. And then what would be the first step to doing it?
Find an app that I like. And
yeah, you have to find one that you resonate with. Some people love Headspace. Other people are like, oh my gosh, I can't listen to the same guy's voice every single time. Some people love Calm. Like I said, Insight Timer is the one that I love, because it's just so many different voices and messages and everything that I like, just the variety that is on there. But so what would be your first step action then?
Well, to find an app, find the resource that I want to use to be able to listen, or not, or just
so maybe if we get really like download, and maybe write down which ones you're going to download, and then like every day for 1 week try a different one. I don't know. Just the month of October is your kind of experimenting month, where you're going to find what works for you, and then maybe by November you'll be able to say, okay, this is really going to be a daily thing now. And October is you're kind of finding your way into it.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah. So that sounds good. Yeah.
That is really great. Does all that make sense to you about, you know, taking an idea that comes from life wheel check-in and breaking it down into really small steps?
Yeah. No, it's good. Yeah. Yeah. It all makes sense. And I guess you just go intuitively with what you think you want to work with.
Exactly. Yeah. And then when you do it every month, the great thing too about dating it and keeping them all. I mean, I think that's it's great to have a Project Me folder, is that you get to see month by month. Some of the things you see is that like it starts to grow bigger and people are like, wow, my flower used to be really small and then it's like getting bigger. But the other thing it shows is just the natural fluctuations, that there's going to be some months that things are like that. But what it flags up to is when there is consistently low scoring areas. Like every month I'm marking myself really low on that. And then it could be that when January comes, you're like, okay, right, I'm going to make this project love or whatever it is, and I'm really going to, do something about this.
Yeah.
Okay, fabulous. So do you see yourself doing a life wheel check-in once a month?
Yeah.
Good. Anything you could see that would stop you from doing it?
It's hard to say until it happens, but I guess
remembering to do it.
I'm having a bad day, but I guess it's just coming back to it and not beating yourself up if you do have a bad day, and
absolutely,
about being perfect, which is another thing I'm good at doing. So yeah, just coming down a bit, and just being aware of, just being kind, I think, to myself.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, Emily. Well, thank you for demonstrating for us, because I think it really helps for people to see that when they've got an idea, the idea really does need to be broken down into tangible steps, because otherwise it just stays an idea in your mind and it doesn't actually get done. Oops, I think you're frozen now. Okay, I'm going to mute Emily again and say thank you. And now this is the bummer, is that I don't know whether anyone's joining right now and wondering what the heck's going on. I accidentally put the wrong time for Los Angeles, New York, and Australia. I put it for an hour later than it was. So I don't know. Rachel, if you've noticed that has there been a lot of people arriving late or not? Okay, everybody in the chat box, if you've just arrived because you thought that the workshop was starting like 9 minutes ago, just write that in the chat box, so I just know if there's anybody here who does not understand that in actuality we're wrapping up. If you don't know that, just type it out there so that I can give you a little bit of extra background. For everybody else, what I want to say is, I want to ask you in the chat box, go ahead and ask if you've got any questions, if anything wasn't clear. If you're feeling brave and you want to be unmuted, you can be unmuted, and you can ask me a question. I just really hope that seeing how this works, that you will be doing a life wheel check-in every month, and that things you will get out of autopilot, and you won't be just kind of every month flying by the seat of your pants, and some month having great. Oh, okay, Mia says just arrived, but we'll tune into the replay. Thanks, Mia. Sorry about that. Rhonda says I joined late and missed most of it. Well, it might not have been your fault. Depends on where you're joining in from. But do your life wheel check-in every month. I hope that this has inspired you to do that. And if you're wanting to join Project We, this is such a great time to do it, because we are going to be heading into the silly season. It's coming up. And the great thing about joining now is that you've got all of October to do my productivity and time management trainings, which are there in Project We. You get my master your to-do list training, where I teach you how to get your to-do list out of your head and off scraps of paper and post-it notes and all that, and get it into one place that things aren't floating around. And that means that when the holiday season comes, you can be really on top of things and not be like, whoa, this is nuts. So I always think October is just such a great month to join in particular. Gives you that productivity background. And also in the personal growth section of the hub, the Project We Hub, we do so many great things in there about mindset and getting yourself into that flow that I talked about earlier. And the workshop for Project We for October is the emotional freedom technique. So we do some work on the inside stuff, and we do work on the outside stuff, and it's a different topic every month for that. Diana says, I got to know what you do just 2 weeks ago. I have also attended the Parent Practice 10-week course, and it is really great to see how things are working for the family petal. I'm so happy to hear that. The Parent Practice, if you haven't read my book, and you don't know the story of Project Me, the parent practice was my lifeline. You know, my family life was out of control. I did a 10-week parenting skills class with the parent practice, and it turned my life around. And it was what I learned doing the parent practice course that got me to apply these strategies to my other 7 life areas too. So it was the whole, I owe so much to the parent practice. Thanks for putting that link in again to Project We. Yeah, I would love for you guys to join. If you've got any questions about it, I should tell you too, that it is only 15 pounds a month, which you get so much for that, which is about $19 US dollars. And it is the kind of thing that you can join for as long as you want. And when you feel like, okay, I've got everything I need, I've taken all the trainings out of productivity and I've done workshops and I'm on with it, then you can leave. It's not, you can leave anytime, you just have to cancel before the next payment comes out, and that's it. So I always tell people, if you're just even curious, like give it a try for 15 pounds or $19, and you can see for yourself what it's like. A lot of the members say that it's beyond anything that they were ever expecting. Like, I give there. You get a lot of my support, and you also get the support of all the other members. So if you've got something, that we were just going through right now, where you're like, oh, I'm not quite sure how to do this, you get everybody in there, like, helping you, not telling you what to do, but just giving you support and guidance and inspiration. So, okay, Fabiani says, looking forward to doing my Project Me Life Wheel. Fabulous, Fabiani. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to wrap things up now since I'm not seeing. Oh, Kirsty says, thank you for the inspiration to return to completing the Project Me Life Wheel. Really lovely workshop, and thank you to Emily for sharing. Yes, thank you, Emily. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. And you can write a little message at the end there if you've got time to do that. Otherwise, I'm going to wish everybody in the UK a nice, get to bed early, read something inspirational before you go to sleep, get to bed early. And for everybody in other parts of the world, have a fabulous day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Oh, Selena, thank you. Thanks for being here. Bye, Selena. Bye, everybody. Bye, Anne. Anne in New York. Now I'm seeing names. Before I was just kind of too focused. Danielle, Kelly, Christina, Rhonda, Julia. Oh, Mari. Oh, you made it, Mari. Okay, now I'm finally seeing everybody's names up here. Rhonda. Great to see everybody. Oh, Selena, your dog. Okay, I'm going to stop recording right now so people watching the replay don't have to hear me saying goodbye to everybody. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a fabulous month ahead. That's what I'll end saying. Okay.